Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So good to see all of you today, and so good to be in Penang and in this such nice hall and heritage hall. It's such a good feeling. So I would like to just to share with you a little bit on the government policies that is related to green building, and that perhaps is that of your interest. Just for introduction purposes, that the government is committed in Paris Agreement to reduce our carbon emission intensity. That means carbon emission per GDP growth here. Carbon emission intensity by 45% by 2030 relative to 2005 level. That 45%, 35% is actually non-conditional, and 10% is upon the help with the assistance and capacity building from the developed countries. So we are right now at 33% of carbon intensity reduction versus 2005 level, and we are very comfortably reaching. We will be very comfortably reaching our national determined goal in a commitment that is committed in Paris Agreement. Hence, the country is actually looking out to revise our NDC next year in 2020. The United Nations has came to us and proposed us to revise our NDC and see whether or not we would like to increase our commitment, because we are actually very comfortably will be reaching there, even business as usual and doing nothing. So the country is looking out for it. But in our Paris Agreement and climate change negotiation, the government is taking a position of what we call common but differentiated responsibilities. What we mean by common but differentiated responsibilities is this, is that the developed country versus the developing country has a common responsibilities. That is that we need to reduce our carbon, but it must be differentiated. That means the developed country and the developing countries must have different scale of responsibility, for a simple reason that for those of you who are into climate change, you would know that actually at this moment our global warming is not because of the current emission, but it's a historical emission since the industrialization in 1800s. And if we recognize that in the history of industrialization, we will realize that all the developed countries are the ones that happily emit the carbon then and earn their bucks, right? And then they release the carbon. And all the historical emission right now, it is for all of us right now to face with global warming, and yet we are to ask to do the same obligations. And hence, it is not in the international negotiation in Paris Agreement, especially in United Nations, we call UNFCCC, United Nations Framework of Climate Change Conference Convention. We usually take common but differentiated responsibilities position together with many other developing countries and least developed world. So why? Because we want to say this, is that you have prospered previously with the emission. You have all your money. Today, you ask me, don't do anything, because I need to reduce my carbon emission for you so that the whole world will not warm. But we all recognize that if we don't do anything, if we refuse to do anything, the world is going to warm, and we are going to hit a very, some of scientists will say irreversible, but I always believe that the human being inventions and human being has enough capability to reverse those. But let's say we don't do anything, we will also be in trouble. That is why Malaysia has taken the position that we will commit to a 45% emission reduction, 45% emission intensity reduction, and we are still considering, we will be considering of increasing, giving a more ambitious goal by 2020 in UNFCCC. That is the framework of the climate change reduction. That is the national level of how much we are going through. And that in carbon reduction, then we will then have, today we talk about green cities and green and smart cities. So green and smart cities, so cities actually contribute majority of our climate, the greenhouse gases. And hence it is linked to city plannings and the way cities are using the energy as well as mobility, because there are three main gases here, actually two main. One is the electricity. Electricity that is based on the buildings. Half of our electricity is consumed by buildings, and all of you here are architects. So you know 14% of the energy in Malaysia is consumed in buildings. And most of it is for cooling. It's for cooling purposes. As the world becomes richer, the problem, we just came back from ASEAN Energy Minister Conference. One of the things that IEA, International Energy Agency, they say is the concern on cooling. The increase in cooling in increasing the developing world greenhouse gases emission. Just think about it, of the 14% of energy that is consumed in Malaysia is on building, and majority is on cooling, and therefore the structure, that means the passive design of all of you here, that can contribute is on the energy efficiency, on how we make cooling less in terms of our structure design. Of course, there will be engineering design in terms of how to make how to make our chiller, how to make our air conditioner less carbon intensive. For example, recently we have just got into, if you know Kyoto Protocol, it is hydrofluorocarbon. And we realize that hydrofluorocarbon is also a very, it's a very big greenhouse gases. It's a very serious greenhouse gases, much more intense than the normal carbon dioxide. So these are some of the things that the engineers will be doing. The architect will be doing that. How do we design buildings, or how we retrofit the structure of the building such that cooling will reduce? A lot of people think 14% is not a lot. Actually, 14% is a lot. It is total energy, total primary energy balance, meaning it is not electricity, it is energy. That means, yeah, including the petrol, diesel, and people moving around, including the natural gases industry is using the burn gases. So this, I think, architect plays a very big role in this 14% in our energy balance. Of course, then we are not talking about only electricity, we're talking about industry as well. Industry will talk about cogeneration. The government will have a roadmap on how do we have a better cogeneration so that our energy is better used. We incentivize more people to go into cogeneration. And then on the mobility, MGTC, Malaysian Green Tech, is working with MOT to come up with a master plan of how do we have low carbon mobility in Malaysia. So that is roughly, I think that is more relevant to you as an architect in Malaysia versus in the whole national scale, that where you are and how are you related to how we achieve our national determined commitment. I believe all of you who attend, sometimes we always preach to the convert, right? To the converted. So most of you who come for green conferences believe that there is a need to make the city green. The problem with this is that we are always talking to each other. and then what we don't realize is that actually we need to reach out. So that is why I'm very glad that today you have all these exhibitions, because there is no way that we can make a difference if we do not have a buy-in of the mass. If we do not have buy-in of the people regarding of how we want to conserve, how we want to mitigate carbon emission, there's nothing we can do. And recently the government is working with the UK High Commission. But this is mostly on plastic and waste. We are working with British High Commission to actually showcase a documentary. We do Blue Planet 2 by award-winning. Any of you know Blue Planet? Yeah? David Attenborough is an award-winning documentary producers. UK was very kind, so we were negotiating with them since last year. We said, can we have a free copy of Blue Planet 2 to show it in our national TV? Because it is showing in TV 1. Yeah, now the Blue Planet 2 is right now showing in TV 1, 1:30 to 2:30 and 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. You can go to my Facebook page, Twitter or Instagram to check out the schedule. Yeah, we really hope that more and more Malaysians can actually really look through that think about preserving environment, not only about that the government asks you to do so, but it's really a bottom-up. In order for me to do a bottom-up, we need more visuals, we need more engagement, we need more people to buy into our idea, and more conviction from the mass. So I hope that with the documentary, and I hope some of you will spread the news around, that we will also help to increase awareness. We will show it again in 2020. We will replay it again in 2020 because there are very good feedback, even though it was shown in afternoon first, 1:30 to 2:30. And then after that, because people are some makcik, the suri rumah makcik see good feedback, we were asked to do it at night. And some people are requesting that we will still, RTM has gracefully said that we will replay it in 2020. So we really need more engagement to the public. So I really hope that with the conference, and later on I also have another speech to make, so I cannot make all announcements here. But all of you are professional here, so I just want to talk to you about something, not only the National Development Goal, where architects and engineers are, where you fit into the whole national goal. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about the government policies. Maybe that you're not aware, maybe you're aware, so you just pardon me if I keep repeating myself, because the finance minister always says this: you must say things many times enough until you also want to throw out when you say it. Then only people can remember it. So please pardon me if you have heard this, because we really want to promote government policies and some of the things that maybe you'll be interested in your next projects. So the government has in the beginning of the year 2019, we have enhanced our net energy metering policy. Net energy metering policy is that anyone who produces electricity from renewable energy source, mainly from solar, rooftop solar, that is behind the meter, now you can sell back to TNB at a one-to-one offset basis. We used to be selling, last time the NEM 1.0, we used to be selling at 30 cents as a displaced cost. Now you are selling at your tariff. That means it is consumption minus generation times with your tariff. That means you are actually offsetting the highest of the tariff rank. If you know your tariff, some of you never see your bill. 200 kilowatt hour, 300 kilowatt hour, 400 kilowatt hour. So it will first deduct from the top. Last time it used to deduct only is the minus of the displaced cost, is 30 cents. 30 cents is at the rank of 200 to 300 kilowatt hour. So now this become very attractive to people with large roof. Alright? Large roof, shopping malls. You know, Malaysia has a lot of rooftops. Many rooftops, because our cities are sprawls. So all of you know, there are many problems with the sprawl cities. So, but one advantage is we get a lot of roofs. So just to, I think Penang has also a lot. Yeah, Penang also quite sprawl. So we have about residential. We have about 3.2 million residential landed properties. Shop lots, we have 450,000 of them. The standalone factories, we have 91,000 of them. Terrace factories, 91,000. As standalone factories, we have 21,000. And shopping malls, we have 1,000 shopping malls in Malaysia. Malaysians love to shop. 1,000 shopping malls, so there is a lot of roofs. And there is a study on, if we put out solar panels in all the roofs, you will be able to generate 4.6 gigawatt of electricity. 4.6 gigawatt is about, we're now at 24 gigawatt capacity, so it's about 25% of the total generation of Malaysia. So we have really a lot of roofs. So I really want you to think of this in your future, because it actually is very worth it for many building owners with big roofs. We are seeing at about at least 20% reduction in their electricity bill. And then with your capex, you know, you can get a return in 5 years. And normally, because corporates, if they are corporates, they will be eligible for green investment tax allowance. That will reduce the return to even lower. So we are talking about 2 to 3 years return with the capex investment, and then the savings that you can save through the electricity bill. So this is really a good, very good incentive the government is giving to industries, commercial areas, new housing areas. New housing areas, Saint-Dabi and G-Sparks from TNB is signing a MOU. They just signed an MOU just 2 to 3 weeks ago. I witnessed that, where they put on residential in most of the plant. So if you actually plan your residential area earlier on, you can now eligible to a quota of an NEM. Meaning to say, for example, today, because we have fixed about 500 megawatt of quota. For example, you are planning a residential area of this big, and you will think of your roof size and all the areas that you can put out a solar panel is about let's say 15 megawatt. You can now go to SEDA, Sustainable Energy Development Authority, and say, okay, I will chop this 15 for this development. So we are giving the 500 megawatt in these two years of first come, first served basis. But because you chop it, so that means you actually register it first, your development can come later. So you can work with your developers, your clients, to really think that whether or not you want to be in NEM and getting quota from SEDA. For more information, maybe because I speak very fast, so for more information you can go to www.seda.gov.my. So all the information are there. So you don't need to worry about taking notes and everything. So www.seda.gov.my. There are government incentives available there. There are also brochures. Brochures on NEM there. So I really hope that we can take up this net energy metering. We see really a very encouraging growth. NEM 1.0, the total 3 years when it started, we get about 23 megawatt of registration. NEM 2.0, just 9 months, we have tripled up. Our registration is triple of what we had for the past 3 years. So from 2019 January until today, September, we have hit about 60 over. So it's triple of what we had previously in NEM 1.0 for the last 3 years. So it is very encouraging. I really hope that all of you can take, because the policy is first come, first served. For the 500 megawatts. So whoever would like to, but not all buildings are suitable. Not all, because it depends on your roof size, roof structure, location, whether there's shade as well. So, but if do study the feasibility in the respective buildings and see whether or not it is suitable for yours. So I do not want to take you any further, bore you any further. I hope that you will have a very fruitful discussion, and I really think that every one of us have a role to play in mitigating. Oh, sorry. If you can forgive me, I just have another thing to share with you. Not share with you, another thought that I would like to forward to all of your architects here. Number 2, on cities planning. Many of the developing countries were so focused on mitigation, carbon emission. But let me tell you this, the most important thing for developing countries as face climate change is adaptation. That means, how do we adapt when there's rising sea level, especially Penang? Island like Penang, islands around will have to face a huge problem of rising sea level. So I think as much as, if there is one thing that we need to do is to be able to be climate ready. In the term is climate resilient. So as we move, we must also, maybe that will be, the mayor will have to think a lot about this. 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, as the world, as the globe warms, will Penang be still around? That is the first question you need to ask yourself. If it needs to be around, how it should be around. How do we simulate that? Is that because we already know you can use IPCC, International Panel of Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, IPCC's report on the estimation of the increase in the globe temperature. There will be increase, no matter how you reduce that, there will be an increase in temperature. Just the rate of increase depends on how we reduce our carbon emission today. So, as we increase this, what will happen to Penang? I think Penang faces this problem. Very unique, you are a city in an island that will face a rising sea level problem. So even as we are feeling good of saving the world and saving a level of carbon emission, it is so much more important to think of how do we make sure that we can survive and Penang can survive 2030 and beyond 2050. So those will need a lot of analytics and those will need a lot of good architects around. Luckily we have an architect mayor, a lot of city planners around to make our city very resilient to climate change. And Penang will have this challenge of the rising sea levels. So we need to simulate how this sea level is going to impact our drainage, how sea level is going to impact our drainage, the backflow, how do we have a design that is adaptive to climate change. So those will be some thoughts that I will leave it to smart people to think. So that's all of you to think about. So what the government can do is to ask you to think about it and open the tender so that there will be people with innovative ideas to make Penang and to make cities around Malaysia that is at the coastal level that is climate resilient. So I promise you one mitigation, one adaptation. That is what we need to look at. Whether you want to be a green and smart cities, if you are not around, if you are tenggelam, then the whole there is nothing we can talk about. So I hope that we are all prioritize and really be a climate resilient city, and really the country rely on all of you here with your brains, with your intellectual capacity to make sure our country is ready, and we are not only ready, we will be able to have the expertise to export our expertise to places outside of Malaysia to help them to mitigate the impact. With that, I would like to thank you and wish you a very good weekend.